Okay. Here's hoping. Maybe. Let's just see that I have audio, that I have video. Grab my tea. There we go. Let's see, and yeah. Hang on. Is there audio? Yes. Yep, here I am. Take 2. All right. Thanks, Thinking Time. Hey, Goosebumps. It's me. I'm back. So, yeah, Iran was firing at Jerusalem. That includes me. If we get another incoming missile alert, I think I'll say goodbye for the night and not go on again. But I will be, answering whatever comments come in. So hit me up if you want. Yeah, Rick and Morty chime in, man. That's right. I loved the first few seasons. The other ones, not as much. I understand there's probably a new one that's coming up. Maybe I'll watch it, maybe I won't. I don't know. My father, damn sirens, that's right. Yeah, well, I'd rather be alive in the bomb shelter than dead in my home. Something like that, right? So yeah, I put my tea in the microwave. The cookies were waiting for me here, and we are good to go. Hello. Yeah, you can have some. Yeah, apparently it was in the cupboard and we didn't know. See, isn't it nice when there's cookies and you don't know you have cookies and then you discover? Of course. That's why I'm doing that. All right. So yes, I was talking about Rabbi Nachman. I was talking about Simcha, right? And we were talking about the Matrix and the Kabbalah. Okay. MRZ says, just had some delicious pizza tonight. He said that yesterday. He didn't answer what toppings he had on them. People, what toppings? Ooh, you know what? Let's go with that. Let's go with that for the poll. Yeah, likely, right, Shai? I can be a caricature. Is there the grave of Ishmael in Jerusalem? Asim said. Likely, but I don't recall. Hang on a second. Let's get a poll going. Let's get a poll going on pizza toppings. Let's see. Let's go with that. Let's go with that. Let's go with that. Hang on a sec. How do you like your pizza, people? Okay. Now, regarding the... it's near Jerusalem on the way to the Dead Sea. I was there. Oh, okay. So it's not in Jerusalem, but outside of Jerusalem. That makes sense. Okay, people, pizza toppings, okay? Pizza toppings. Pineapple, extra cheese, jalapeno. I wrote jalapeno. What's jalapeno? Jalapeno. I meant to write jalapeno. Or straight up no toppings. Okay, 60% with extra cheese. Now, back when I was eating dairy, that would have been my go-to. Definitely extra cheese. Pineapple. I tasted pizza with pineapple once in my life, and it was really good. I didn't see it coming. If God isn't a God, says Dust, hey Dust, of confusion, why do some rabbis say Sabbath is lunar 7th, and others say Saturday and pepperoni pork kind? Well, let's put it, I'm assuming, right, that's your pizza. What rabbis say that Sabbath is lunar 7th? Who says that? The only time where there is, hey Taha, the only time where there is a difference of opinion, as far as I know, on the Sabbath, is when speaking of the Passover and the counting of the Omer for 49 or 50 days, where it says, "Usfartem lachem mimachorat Shabbat," and you shall count for yourselves from the day after the Sabbath. And there's the difference of opinion on whether or not it's the Sabbath in Passover, or the Sabbath meaning the Sabbath of the first day of Passover. And halachically, Orthodox Jews count from the day after the first holiday, the first day of Passover, and others count from Bismillah Rahman Rahim, B'Shem Allah Rachaman V'Arachum, in the name of Allah, most merciful, most gracious. Right? Rahman Rachum. And Toretto says, why can the elite order pizza to the door, but I have to work all my life and I still can get my life destroyed over some pizza? Say what? I don't understand the question. Could you dumb it down for me? I'm ignorant. Let's read that again. Why can the elite order pizza to the door, but I have to work all my life and I still can get my life destroyed over some pizza? Meaning what? You think your life won't be destroyed if it arrives at your door? Your life can definitely be destroyed if it arrives at your door. I don't see how the elites get away with having that life. Okay. Bin says, what do you talk about in this channel? It's a discussion, it's an ongoing dialogue on faith, spirituality, religion, self-development, and whatever is in the chat, really. Kiddush Levana in the 7th, says Shai Milman. As far as I know, isn't Kiddush Levana up until the 8th day? Or is it the 10th day? I think it's up until the 10th. Yes, it's up until the 10th. And we know this because Yom Kippurim is Yud B'Tishrei, the 10th of Tishrei, and on Motza'ei Yom Kippur we do Kiddush Levana traditionally, and so it's even after the 10th. It's all the way to the 11th. Shabbat Shalom Twin says Jaxo. Hey Jaxo, how you doing, man? Boy, so Shai Milman, you thinking it's Kiddush Levana that he's talking about? It doesn't make sense, but okay. Doesn't make sense, but maybe I'm misunderstanding. Assalamu alaikum, says Alizu. Wa alaikum salam. Marhaba. Shai Milman says it's nice to be here before it all get crazy with the spammers and the overly Christians and the free Palestines. Yeah, I suppose, Shai. I suppose that's true. What do you think of Messianic Jews? I'm a fan of Messianic Jews in the sense that they have a unique perspective on the Torah and the Bible. I'm not, I don't follow Jesus, but I have studied with them and I have conversed with them. They are usually pretty knowledgeable in Tanakh, which is what I really love. I had a chavruta, right, a study partner with a study date with a Messianic Jew. We studied the Mishnah of Masechet Zvachim, and that was fun. What is the job of IDF soldiers, says Asem? Well, depending on their military designation, but the job of any IDF soldier is right in the name. It's the Israeli Defense Forces. The job of the IDF soldier, it's his. He left it there to rot. It's, you know what it is. Open it. You know what it is. You all know what it is. The elite make jerky out of pizza, says Entredo. Once again, it's going way over my head. I don't know what you mean, but all right. This guy ain't talking about pizza, you know, says Danakema. I'm not. Are you a Jew? Yes, I am, of the kingdom of Judah. So, 26 votes in. Pineapple at 35%, extra cheese at 35%, jalapeno at 12%, and straight up no toppings with 19%. See, for most of my life, I was a no toppings man, and only later did I discover that I like onions on it, and I love olives on it, and I like pineapple on it, and I like jalapeno on it. Do you like the Family Guy Jew jokes? I love the Family Guy Jew jokes. I haven't watched Family Guy in quite some time, but again, the earlier seasons I watched, and they are awesome. So yeah, I really enjoy their jokes, for sure. Dust says, why does God need a Sabbath? Can't we just honor God through tzaddik and praising its name? God doesn't need anything. God has no desire for anything in the sense of that I don't know God. All I know is how God reveals himself to me. And it's said that we may only speak of God in the negative, right? We know what God is not. And the idea is that if I can perceive it, if I can conceptualize it, if I can speak of it, if I can sense it, if I can have some sort of an idea or conception of it, it is immediately not God. Do you see what I'm saying? And so, if you're saying, why does God need X, Y, Z, or a Sabbath? I have no idea. You'll have to ask God. The Sabbath is for us. And Tredo says, I love pizza, I only eat pizza, but I want to make a new pizza out of the sourdough starter. The elite think they can just slice their pizza and throw it in the trash. Sickening. So what do you mean? The elite slice the pizza and then throw it in the trash. And whereas you want to start from sourdough, that is commendable. Good for you. Let me know how it works out. Osorio. Hey Osorio 50. How do you feel about Kabbalah? I am a fan. I am a student of the Tree of Life. Is it still common practice nowadays, or has it disappeared? It's never disappeared. The thing is that until the time of the Ari, right, of the Lurianic Kabbalah, Rabbi Yitzchak Luria, like 400 years ago or so, it was with many prohibitions. You had to be Usually, you had to be a man, you had to be over 40, you had to have a wife and kids, and you had to be versed already in the written and oral traditions and keep to halacha. But ever since the Arizal, ever since Rabbi Yitzchak Luria came onto the scene, and certainly nowadays, the floodgates have been thrown wide open. So it's not hidden. The actual real hidden Kabbalah has never been written down. The really hidden Kabbalah is still passed down orally from master to apprentice. And how do I feel about it? I feel that if it's kosher Kabbalah, it's an amazing thing and a wondrous wisdom. And that's why I'm such a fan of it. But I do say that you must study with a proper master. If you're going to go down the path of the tree of life, study it with a proper master. Long live Israel, says Mr. Works. Indeed, long live Earth. Long live humanity. May we all come together in peace and prosperity. Ay, we need peace, we need love. Oh my God. The law is written on the heart, not from books, says Risen or Risen. Yes, ultimately the law will be written on the heart, but it certainly is written in the scroll, right? It is written in the book. There was a written Torah and an oral Torah, and later on the oral traditions were written down. Long live Israel and happy Pesach, says Rainer Schwinkler. Pesach Sameach v'Kasher, happy and kosher Passover to you. Are you the chosen people and proud of it? So no, I stay away from that chosen stuff precisely because it can take you down a path of pride, vanity, and arrogance, and I'm not a fan of those attributes. So I don't consider myself chosen. I consider the idea that Israel was selected for a certain task, but other nations were selected for other tasks. Got to keep it down, kids are sleeping. It is 10:40 p.m. Okay. AI says, this is a real Jew, guys, not the Edomites we see today. You know what? I don't go for the real Jew, fake Jew, original Jew, Khazari Jew crap. I really do think it's crap. If you take on the covenant, right, whether you're born into it or you take it on through conversion, you are 100% a Hebrew man or woman. That's how it goes. If you take on the yoke of Torah and the commandments and the covenants that we are, that we stick to, you are a Jew. I don't, all this fake stuff, it's just too much. I can't take it. Is Israel safe and do you live there? Yes, I do live there, Sam, and in fact I'm doing now take 2, as the title says, because I had to stop just before, because there was the incoming missile alert. Iran was attacking Jerusalem. I had to go down to the bomb shelter, and now I'm back. Hopefully I will be able to keep going and no more incoming missile alerts. If anyone is in touch with the Iranian government, let them know that the Hebrew Nazarite is broadcasting, and if they could just wait, or maybe don't do it at all, that would be even better. Tell you what, forget this. Tell them not to do it at all. I think that would be better. Let's continue. How did your grandparents deal with the Nazis? They fought the Nazis. That's how they dealt with it. My grandfather on my mother's side was in the U.S. Navy. My grandfather on my father's side, was he already here? No, he wasn't here. I'm not sure. Where was he at the time? I'm not sure where he was at the time. He may... I'm not... You know what? I'll ask my father. He may have still been in school. I don't recall. Do you support Israeli government? Not blindly. I support Israel, but I don't follow the establishment or the government or the army blindly. I'm critical of the government and of the establishment and of the army. And Israel is not blameless, and Israel is not without any faults, for sure. Yes, you can. But keep it enclosed if you can, If it's just a pita, that's fine. No, you don't have to. I can smell those dreads from Alabama. Hey, Timothy, what do they smell like? Do say, do share. People have their different opinions on what I might smell like. It's been a topic of conversation in the last few days. Can I live in Jerusalem if I want? I am not sure. How would you enter Israel? If you enter with a certain visa, right, whether a student visa or a worker's visa, or if you're a Jew, or in some other way, then yes, you can definitely come and live here. There are many Arabs, many Muslims who live here, many Christians who live here, many foreigners who live here. It's a very mixed city. Can you tell me the tribe of Abraham, please? Abraham had no tribe, Andy Clapper. Abraham was born to a pagan family in Mesopotamia, and only later, right, he was blessed with Isaac, who was later blessed with Jacob, and then Jacob had 12 sons and one daughter. They later became families, and later became tribes that became the people of Israel. So Abraham had no tribe. Abraham was, or Avram, later Abraham, was simply a man of God without any tribal affiliation. Right? That was part of his charm. That was part of what makes him so unique. Right? Echad haya Avraham. One was Abraham. Andy Clapper says, thank you. And you. Fun short edits. As a Muslim, I want to know, is it Gog and Magog or Gog from Magog? No, it's Gog and Magog, two separate geographical locations. You look like an abandoned Jesus Christ, says Ayanda. Okay, great, right? Pretty good. Remember, blood is the only thing that atoned for our sins. Your form of Judaism came after Christianity. No, Corey, you are quite mistaken. It did not come after Christianity. The rabbinic Orthodox Judaism as we know it today is indeed the result of the temple being burned down, but the traditions go way, way earlier than Christianity. What do you think about this thing called soap, says Alex. I'm a fan of soap, be it body soap or hand soap or scalp soap that we call shampoo. I'm a fan, definitely. So, 116 votes. Pizza toppings. Extra cheese, 37%. Pineapple, 24%. Straight up no toppings, 22%. And jalapeno with 18%. You people don't like spicy, huh? That's cool. That's cool. Blackberry says, cursed people without land. I'm not sure who you mean, but okay. Sam says, our news lies to us in England. They say Israel are not being bombed. No, Israel is definitely being bombed. The thing is that most of the missiles are intercepted by the different systems that we have in place, be it Iron Dome, or David's Sling, or the Arrow, or Patriot missiles, whatever we have going on. Who is your next Messiah, says Rayhan. I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see who the next Messiah is. Shalom from Amsterdam. Hoi hoi. Hoe heet jij? Sarah. I lived outside of Amsterdam for 3 years, and I never picked up the language, but I know a word or two. Why did you kill the prophets? MK7 asks. Because people are idiots. That's why they killed the prophets. That's literally why. AB83, are you originally from the States? Your English is amazing. My parents are from the States. I grew up here in Israel, but I'm bilingual from the beginning, basically, from birth. Zken, duleshoni. Are you in Iran? No, I'm not. Thank God for that. Not in Iran. Shalom to you. Taha. Hey, Taha. Donald Trump is the next Messiah. Indeed. Well, he's not a Jewish man, is he? So he can't be the king of Israel. But he could be the king of the U.S. if they anoint him, sure. Is rabbinical Judaism the correct teachings instead of Christianity? I'm genuinely asking. Correct teachings for who? For the Jews? Likely, because Christianity, by and large, says that Jesus is the anointed one who is also a God. The anointed one, I have no problem with him being the Messiah. He's dead, but there are many kings who lived and died. No problem there. The problem that I have and other Orthodox Jews have is that they made Christianity, that is, made him a God, a living God, and that goes against Torah. I don't mind, the whole virgin birth. I don't mind the fact that he lived. I don't mind the fact that he died, that he was resurrected, that he ascended. All of that has some sort of a root in the Hebrew Bible. The one thing that does not have a root in the Hebrew Bible is Jesus being a God in flesh. That's where I go, nope, that goes against the Torah categorically, and I do not accept it. That's why Jews reject Jesus and Christianity. Again, I'm making a broad generalization here. Let's continue. Do you stone disobeying children, MK7 says. No, I do not, because A, you need a Sanhedrin in order to carry out such punishments, and B, I'm not a fan of stoning children, so no. He resurrected, says Nick. Yes, that's what I'm saying. I don't mind that he resurrected. We have roots of resurrection in the Bible. We have roots of ascension in the Bible. We don't have any root for a human being being a god. That's where I draw the line and say, that goes against the Torah. Devil worshipper, says F. Dennis. You're darn tootin' right. Ah! Yeah. I am a devil worshipper, Dennis, and it feels so good to worship the devil. Oh, yeah. Do you see no references to Jesus in the Torah? Midnight says. Now, I've listened to many Christians over the years give me evidence for how Jesus is in the Bible, from the Alpha to the Omega, right? From the Bet of Bereshit to the Lamed of Vayal at the end of Chronicles, right? Of Divrei Yamim. I see zero evidence for Jesus in the Bible. Now, I'm stiff-necked, that's for sure. This is a hill I will die on, also for sure. But no, I see no evidence for Jesus being in the Bible. And even if we do concede and say that there's evidence for somebody who is a Messiah in the Bible, and there is, it's not Jesus, because if you're saying that Jesus is the final Messiah, then the temple would not have been destroyed. We would have gone through that paradigm shift, and humanity phase 2, going back to Eden, partaking of the fruit of the tree of life, would have come to pass. And it hasn't, and he died, and 40 years later or so, the temple was burned. Ergo, we can say that he was not the final Messiah. You can make the argument that he was one Messiah of many, but like every other king that was before him, king of Israel, but not the final Messiah. And so that means, no. Are you from Bet Shemesh? Nope, from Jerusalem, Donnie Brown. From Jerusalem. Israel will bring heaven on earth, says King Alfred. Some people say that. I think that, humanity will bring heaven on earth. It is due to our doing, our being, right, our actions, and the way we carry ourselves as individuals and as, nations, as a global human race. That's how we are going to bring this about. It's on us to make it happen. It's on us to incorporate these Edenic, heavenly elements into creation here and now in this world of knowledge of good and evil. It's on us to do it. Let's continue scrolling down in the chat. What do you do for work? Nekos asked. I am a writer. That's what I do for a living. Do Israel have problems with Turkey? Assam says. I know some Israelis do have problems with Turkey, but I know that even throughout all the bad blood and the different aspersions and accusations, we still maintain good trade relations and like an industrial sort of thing going with Turkey. And is Turkey? They're not part of the EU yet, right? Are they? They want to be part of the EU. No, people don't want them to be part of the EU. But with Israel, it's, look, Erdogan is not a fan of Israel, that's for sure. So I think people don't have a problem with Turkey per se. They may have a problem with the leadership of Turkey. That probably. Okay, let's continue. Why don't you use God's name Jehovah? Because you're not supposed to pronounce that name. I say Adonai or Yah or other names of God, but I do not say the name that way, because the name of God as it's spelled out is not how you are meant to pronounce it. Right? The sacred name, which is that, which other people say Jehovah, some say it is that, some say it's not that. What's called Shem HaMeforash, the explicit name, is unknown to the mainstream folk, and it's a dispute on whether or not it's simply in hiding or whether it was really gone from creation. All right, let's continue. Sultan says, I heard you're studying Kabbalah, although senior Kabbalists warn against this, considering the use of spiritual powers for worldly or personal purposes dangerous and forbidden. It's black magic. So that's false. The Kabbalah that I learn, that I read, first of all, I only still, even after all these years, I consider myself learning and studying the introductions of introductions to introductions. That's how I see it. No matter how much I immerse myself in these teachings, I've only just barely begun to scratch the surface. And the black magic element, which is actually white magic if you do it properly, is called Kabbalah Ma'asit, practical Kabbalah, the Kabbalah of this world, Olam Ha'asiyah, the world of action, the world of doing. I stay far away from any kind of magic, from any kind of manipulation of the forces of nature. I don't invoke angels or demons. I simply study the lore of the tree of life in order to be a better person and to know how to act in the world, and what to say, and what to do, and how to be better, and how to pick myself up when I fall, how to live with more humility, how to ideally live a more righteous life. And I care not for manipulating nature. I care not for bending the physical laws of this world. It's not what I'm not in there for that at all. So while it is indeed dangerous, that's why I say, if you're going to study Kabbalah, do it with a proper master. Do it with a proper master. I cannot stress this enough. Okay, let's continue. Jeremy says, Really, Jeremy, Well, first of all, I'm not sure why you're writing in Hebrew, but okay. If you want to talk to me one-on-one, Hebrew Nazarite across the board on the different platforms. I'm on X, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. Wait, I said X, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And here, hit me up, Hebrew Nazarite, look for my tree. But he says, how can I talk to you? You have a few mistakes in the humility of saying. I'm assuming he means, I'm assuming that I'm not sure what do you mean by betzinaat ha'amira? I'm not sure what that means. Can Jews pray at mosques, asks Fun Short Edits. Most Orthodox rabbis say yes, unlike churches. We're not allowed to pray in churches. That is considered proper idolatry. And Islam is not considered idolatry, though some rabbis say that it's on the verge. And so most Orthodox Jews are allowed to pray. Most Orthodox rabbis would give you the go-ahead to pray in a mosque, but not. It's not an absolute. You'll have to consult with your halacha, right? With the halacha that you follow. Okay. D4RK, did you just tell people to study Kabbalah? No, I said if you are called to it and you want to study it, do it with a proper master. That's all I'm saying. Not everybody is supposed to be studying these teachings. I know that I was called to them from a very young age, and I'm still called to them even now. And I have studied with several masters over the years. So I just want to say for people, if you do want to study that, search out a proper master. I didn't tell people to study Kabbalah, although many people would say it's the thing to do. I can't really say that. It's a wondrous wisdom and a wonderful thing, but I wouldn't go so far as to say that everybody should be studying it. Other people have said such things, and I, to some degree, do endorse that, but I don't feel comfortable saying it myself, because I am always and ever a student, a learner. I'm not a master, I'm not a rabbi, I'm not a scholar, I'm not a Kabbalist, right? I'm a student of the Tree of Life. Neko says, what does Judaism say about different sin, like homosexuality or adultery? Is it similar to Christian belief in regards to written rules about sin, or is it a personal moral obligation? Well, the Torah says that adultery is not cool, and homosexuality is not cool only in the sense of the physical act of anal sex between two men. So that's the one facet of homosexuality that is not allowed according to the Torah. Now, people have extrapolated and said that living with a guy, right, and engaging in any kind of sexual act with a guy, even if it's not anal penetration, is also, right, haram, right, is also not kosher. But in the Torah itself, disregarding Orthodox halacha in this context, in the Torah it says that adultery, which is being with somebody who is married, that is not allowed, and that appears twice in the Ten Commandments. Homosexuality, as again only relegated to anal sex between two men, full penetration, that is something that is not allowed, and that alone is considered an abomination. But the Torah doesn't say who you are allowed or not allowed to be attracted to, the feelings you are allowed or not allowed to have. So there's that whole debate in between on the nature of homosexuality. Also, adultery is mentioned time and time and time again in the prophets. Homosexuality is not. And the prophets do give us an inkling, let's say, of what it is that de facto on the ground was Israel doing that caused them later to suffer so much and to later be exiled and kicked out of the land of Israel. And homosexuality was not mentioned, at least not so explicitly as adultery, which has been mentioned many, many times in the prophets. Now, no, I'll hand it to you. No, you come here. The Torah, you want me to throw it to you? I'm not throwing it to you. 5 seconds, people.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
6 seconds, okay. I had to give him the salt. He wanted me to throw him the salt. I'm not going to throw the salt. I handed him the salt. That's the right thing to do. All right. Let's continue. I'm trans, says XX Mac. All right, what kind of trans are you? M to F, F to M? I love women. Oh, so do I, Byron. So do I. Women are a wonder. Women are amazing. I love them too. Let's go with the poll. 291 votes so far. Pineapple at 29%. Extra cheese at 37%. Straight up at 19%. And jalapeno. Why did it write jalapeno? Jalapeno with 16%. All right. Shalom Aleichem, says Soldier Boy. Aleichem Shalom. How you doing, Soldier Boy? Are you indeed serving right now? Soldier Boy, made of clay, now an empty shell. Name that song. Okay. I love showers, says Mango. I love showers too. I'm more of a bath man, but I love showers as well. San Kid says, if you would have added pepperoni, I bet you would have won the poll. See, I was thinking like a yid. I never had pepperoni pizza because it's not kosher. Even when I was having meat and dairy, you don't have them together. That's not halachically permissible. So I didn't even think to say pepperoni. See? Okay. Fool, say hi to Trump. Trumpstein says, hi Trump, how you doing? Hello. There, that's for you. I call you to the true Islam, says Naim. I call you to believe in Allah, God, and all His messengers, and to believe in the last prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Allah is the one light and the Lord. Well, salam alaikum, Naim. Marhaba. I don't think so. The most greasy-looking YouTube live streamer, says Brad. Oh, no, that's not true. There are much greasier people than me. I know this for a fact. But I'm honored that I would be on the list of most greasiest. Thank you, Brad. I appreciate it. Let's continue. Gila, how did the Jews deal with the hate and dehumanization in the past and now? And being white, did it make it easy? And what can we learn from them? Well, look, Jews, if you want to go at them for being white, you call them white. If you want to say that they're not white, then they're not white. Jews can be blamed for being everything and anything and nothing. You know, they're too rich, they're too poor. They're not religious, they're too religious. They integrate, they don't integrate enough. You know, they keep to themselves, they're not, it's like whatever it is that you want to find to fault the Jew, you will be able to, right? It's like a few degrees of separation between anything and the Jew, and why the Jew is at fault. Now, this is not to continue the victim narrative. I'm just saying it literally has been the case throughout history where things were blamed on the Jews, sometimes at the same time, things that are contradictory. You know what I'm saying? So how did Jews deal with hate and dehumanization? Largely by comedy, by humor, and faith. Faith and comedy, that's how Jews deal with stuff. As for now, same deal, faith and comedy. I'm thinking that's it. What can we learn from them? You tell me. Far be it from me to know. You tell me, what can you learn from Jews? I don't know. Hey, Metallica, that's correct. Wait, who said Metallica? Oh, the chat jumped. Sorry. Naeem says, hi, Nasia, you from? Nasia? What? Okay, maybe he's talking to someone in the chat. Oh, man. Well, so whoever said Metallica, that is correct. That is correct, Metallica, indeed. Johnny Boy says, why were they disliked in every country they settled in? The majority can't be wrong. No, like I said, there have been many, look, there is the physical, technical aspect, the religious aspect. Some people say it's because the Jews represent sort of metaphysically the conscience of the world, as it were, seeing as how they brought more monotheism into this world than any other religion, in the sense that Islam is based on Christianity and Judaism, Christianity is based on Judaism, Judaism is the OG, right? The Hebrew way came before Christianity, the Hebrew way came before Islam. They both, to a great degree, base some of their teachings on the Hebrew faith, the Ten Commandments, the Torah. This is not to say that there were no scrolls of laws, no courts of law, and no morality or justice in the world before the Hebes. No, not in the least. But it was the Hebrew people who perpetuated it, let's say, and who made it greater. So, and who spread it quite passively, really, because we don't proselytize, by and large. We don't want everybody to be Jewish. We don't believe Judaism should take over the world. But the majority can't be wrong. I agree. There is something about the Jew that other people do not like. Be it, religious, be it technical, practical. Like I said, you can find anything and everything in wherever you are and blame the Jews. Right? Only a few degrees of separation between whatever it is that ails you, whatever it is that harms you, whatever it is that hurts you, and the Jew. It's the Jew, right? He's this and he's that. They control the world, they control industry, Epstein, pornography, they have their hands in so many pies, they control this and that, and it's a Jewish cabal that is controlling everything. It's that type of thing. So as for why, you'll have to ask the nations that kicked us out, because we weren't enemies of all of them, and yet we were kicked out from tons of people, tons of places, and expelled from some places, right? I mean, Spain and England, and I mean, the list goes on. Bro, Jewish people are so small. They are so influential. WTF, says Jacob S. Yeah, it's true. We're like, what, 15, 16 million people? That's not a lot of people. Jew, says Bunubius, indeed, of Judah. That's right. Frankist Jew. No, I'm not a Frankist. Yaakov Frank was somebody who I think did a lot of harm to the Jewish people and the Jewish world. So I'm not a Frankist by any means. I'm not a Shabbatayist, I'm not a Frankist, I'm a regular Hebrew dumbass in the Middle East, just trying to follow the covenant of the Torah. That's how I see it. But I know that many people were influenced by Shabbatai Tzvi, many people were influenced by Yaakov Frank, and I'm not one of them. No. From them I learned what not to do. From them I learned how not to behave, more than anything. So I'm not a Frankist. Anoni says, I saw the missile alert. How are you? All good? Any news? Well, yeah, I had to stop the live stream to go down to the bomb shelter, and now I'm back. And for the past 36 minutes, I've been talking to you, good people. Incidentally, a quick aside to say thank you. Those watching now, those watching later, the subs, then the likes, and the views, the encouragement, the hate, and the spam, and the troll, and the vitriol. It's so much fun to engage with you, good people, to have a conversation with you. You educate me, you strengthen me, you nourish me, you sustain me in these crazy, crazy times of war. And I deeply appreciate your kind attention and your gentle, demeanor. Okay, let's continue. And again, the energies that I feel in this chat are so lovely. So lovely. It's a wonder. It truly is. You were enemies of some of them, says Tyler. From their point of view, yes. From their point of view, in some cases, the Jew was the enemy from the beginning, and in some cases it evolved over time. But even if it only evolved over time, it came to a point where, the pogroms, the mobs, the lynches, the blood libels, this is not by accident that this happened all over the place. Now, there were many, many years under the caliphate, right? In Arab countries under Muslim rule, where we were dhimmis and second or third class citizens had to pay the jizya, the skull tax, and yet the Muslims and the Jews were able to kind of coexist fairly well for hundreds of years. And it was less of a pain in the ass, let's say, in some cases. Europe, on the other hand, and we saw what happened with World War II. Okay, let's continue. West Coast says, I don't know what's going on here or what religion you all are, but you breathe the same air I breathe and bleed the same color as me. I want to say I love you as a brother. That is wonderful. Admirable sentiment. I hope we all learn to feel that way more and more. It's like we will eventually take down the walls and remove the barriers and transcend our differences and our bickerings and our bloodshed and our tribalism. Right now it still serves a purpose, whatever purpose that might be. And we do need to segregate to some degree. And I'm a Hebrew man, and I'm saying that because you have the Hebrews and you have the non-Hebrews, and there's definitely a difference there, be it in the way that we worship, the way that we talk, how we dress, what we eat. The segregation is there. However, there is also the potential of transcending the segregation, right? Of breaking down the walls, of removing the borders that cause this strife and this tension. In Eden, there were no cultures or tongues or religions or borders or nations or countries. It was just humanity, nature, and the divine revelation. That is where we started. That is where we are headed. And it's exactly West Coast sentiments like that, right? We breathe the same air, we bleed the same color. Love. That love that conquers all, that love that covers all wrongdoings, as it says in Proverbs, that will eventually win the day. How will it come about? I don't know, but I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that love will indeed conquer all. Love and truth. Okay, let's continue. Let's continue scrolling down. So many people in the chat. Oh, by the way, okay, I won't get to every single thing in the chat, but I would love to hear what you have to say, be it something good, something negative, whatever it is, an insult or an encouragement or a question or a wonderment. So leave a comment if I don't get to your chat comment. Leave a comment on one of my videos. I address every single comment that is addressed to me. in the chat. There are over 200 people here right now. I can't get to every question, but don't think that I'm ignoring you. Don't think that I'm filtering you. Don't think that I'm shadow banning you. And there are no mods here. I don't ban people. I don't put people in timeouts or kick people out. It's a free platform to the degree that YouTube allows with its guidelines. And I want it to stay that way, so I can't get to every chat, but leave a comment and I will get to it. Aaron Red says, thank you, brother. Indeed. Thank you, Aaron. I appreciate your viewership. Kyle says, if the resurrection did happen at all, so what? Exactly, so what? Elijah and Elisha resurrected people. They didn't turn into gods. Elijah and Hanoch ascended. They didn't turn into gods. They received an angelic form, but they were not gods. And there's a big difference there. Are you a Jewish or a Zio, says Hamoud. Hi, Hamoud. Marhaba. I am a Hebrew, Jewish, Zionist, a biblical Zionist and a modern-day Zionist, but I don't follow Zionism blindly, and I'm critical of Zionism, and I'm critical of people who do horrible things in the name of Zionism. So there you go. As a Muslim, said Funshorts, could you tell me, is there sects in Judaism? And what do you think about red heifers? Please explain me. So yes, we have basic sects, which is the Orthodox or Rabbinic Judaism. We have Conservative Judaism. We have Reform Judaism, and both of the latter ones are from the last couple of hundred years, originating in Europe. We have Reconstructionist Judaism, Neo-Hasidic Judaism, and other forms of Judaism that I don't know, but there are different sects. The ones I mentioned, I think, are the more known ones. As an Orthodox Jew myself, I grew up Orthodox, I'm not as familiar with all of the others, of course, because it's not my halachic tradition. As for the red heifer, it says that the ashes of the red heifer are mixed in with the water, right? And you take a branch of hyssop, and you can then be cleansed, ritually cleansed from the defilement of human death, right? A corpse. So the defilement of death of humanity, going back to Eden and the way that death came into the world, it is called the father of the fathers of impurity, Avi Avot HaTum'ah. And it's the red heifer alone that can make the unclean clean in that sense. There are different levels to impurity. There's lower levels of impurity and higher levels of impurity. And mind you, we're not talking about clean or dirty physically. We are talking about being able or unable to perform certain rituals, being able or unable to harness certain spiritual energies and be a vessel so they might go through you and back out into the world. It's not a question of dirty or clean. For instance, an emission of semen during the night or the day will cause a certain amount of impurity, a ritual uncleanliness. Menstruation and birth will cause a certain amount of uncleanliness. In other words, it is part of the natural cycle and circle of life to be clean and unclean, clean and unclean. And because it's part of nature, there were ways of becoming pure, and you are defiled and then you are purified. And so the red heifer is the highest form of purification because it purifies somebody from the defilement of a human body, right? A dead body. Thoughts on the Brit Milah, says Happy. I'm a fan of the Brit Milah. Those are my thoughts. Let's continue. Do you know, says Sultan, that you live on my land, which you stole, where I used to live in Ashkelon, and I was displaced to the Gaza, and now I am outside my homeland searching for my lost homeland in all the lands. Well, I will say, don't start a war, don't start shit, won't be shit. You started, your ancestors, that is, started a war, lost, and now you're saying, gimme, gimme, gimme. That's not how this works. If you were displaced, my heart goes out to you, but, and there's a big but here, I like big buts, and I cannot lie, the but is, you don't get to start a war, and then mourn the loss of land. Thank you. Appreciate it. You going to sleep? Have a good night. So it's not stolen land because it's either bought in full, or the spoils of war, or right, your ancestors voluntarily left because the Arab Muslim leaders at the time told those who lived in Ashkelon or in some parts of Israel, not necessarily Ashkelon, to clear out, and they will kill all of the Yahud, and then you can all come back. That didn't happen. 5 or 6 armies attacked in 1948, and they lost. That's how it goes. And mind you, the partition plan, once again, the Jews accepted it, the Arabs rejected it, right? The Muslims rejected it. So your leaders are the ones that you should go to and you should bitch and moan to them. Israel has done a lot. Israel has given land back just now, today or yesterday was the anniversary of the peace agreement with Egypt. Do you know that we offered Gaza to Egypt in the peace agreement and they said no? Did you know that there is also a border crossing between Gaza and Egypt is also not letting the Gazans get into Egypt? Why? Did you know that from 1948 till 1967 it was Egypt in control of Gaza? And they didn't establish a Palestinian state, nor did Jordan in the West Bank, which they controlled until 1967. So I am sorry for the loss of your homeland. The only ones whom you have to complain to are your leaders for not accepting any peace process, for not making any deal, and for perpetuating this status of a Palestinian refugee, this multi-generational horror show. They want to keep you poor. They want to keep you a refugee. They want to keep you, because then they can blame Israel for everything and get rich and fat off of your money and not give you anything and not build up any infrastructure and blame Israel. And of course, the world will go with that. You know, it's the Jew. Okay. Your opinion, BB good, BB bad, says the J-Man. I think that he has good things and bad things, but he needs to go. That's what I think of Netanyahu. Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel, needs to go. He cannot be Prime Minister any longer, which is also why I will be voting. And I haven't voted for about 20 years, and I will be voting in the upcoming election whenever it is, because he needs to go. So even I, who am anti-politics and think it's a dirty, dirty game, I will be voting. John says, why do you tolerate hatred in the chat? The ignorant won't appreciate it anyway. Oh, because I believe in free speech, and I think that it's the right thing to do in such an open platform. Again, to the degree that YouTube allows with its guidelines, hatred in the chat, it's par for the course. It's part of nature. It's part of human nature to love. It's part of human nature to hate. We live in a world of duality, of good and evil. If I give room for good in my life, and in this chat, I should give some allowance for some measure of evil and take it as such, take it in stride. That's what I try to do. As for the ignorant won't appreciate it, I consider myself among them. I am also very ignorant. That's in part why I do this. You people educate me, and you people push back, and you people challenge me, and you people fact check me. Occasionally, you actually do it properly, and I learn something new. And then I'm a lot less ignorant, and I thank you for that. Let's continue. Going down, down, down in the chat, going down in the chat. 580 votes with extra cheese and pineapple, neck and neck, 34%, and jalapeno and straight up, neck and neck at 16%. Look at that. I did not think that would be the case, but that's pretty good. Simply says, you're indeed very ignorant. Do you dare to debate? No, I'm not a debater, nor am I an apologist. So no, I'm not a debater. I'm not looking to score points. I'm not looking to change anyone's views. I'm not looking to shift anyone's opinion. I'm just here having conversations with people. That's what I'm doing here. This is what this channel is about, having conversations, right? Ideally, or primarily, about faith and spirituality, religion and self-development and becoming better people. But what always comes up, because I'm a Hebrew man in Israel, is Jesus and Palestine. So usually I roll with it. Occasionally I go, tonight, no Jesus and no Palestine. I just did that a few days ago. King of the liars, says J-Rock. Thank you. I bow before you. The one says, I just want to let everyone know in the upper right-hand corner of your screen there are 3 dots. If you press that, then scroll down. There is a button that says, don't recommend this channel. Indeed, do not, right? If you don't want to see me anymore, that's great. This channel then is not for you. If you don't want me to pop up on your feed, completely understandable. I take no offense. Do exactly what the one and only says. You won't see me ever again. I hope, you know. And if I do, just complain to YouTube. What can I say? Lopez says, we have had your brothers back in history in Poland. Shame that this time has gone. Well, look, we were exiled from Judea, from the land of Israel, to the east and the west. And then we are now making a comeback in the last couple of 100 years. But there has always been a Jewish presence in the land of Israel. However small, however minute, it was still indeed a presence here. So And also, we continually longed for this land. We continually prayed, literally prayed in the direction of Zion, of Jerusalem. And we mention Jerusalem, at least the Orthodox do, in the prayers 3 times, if not more, a day. And there's a reason for that. Okay. So regarding the exiles, why you were exiled, I answered this a few minutes ago, so you're too late. Straight says, I'm curious how you personally sit with the historical evidence of Jesus Christ and his death and resurrection. I sit with it because I don't mind that he lived, I don't mind that he died, I don't mind that he was resurrected, I don't mind that he ascended. I mind it when people say, oh, and he's Son of God, God incarnate, God in the flesh, a living God, only through him. That's where I draw the line. So how I sit with it? I sit just fine with it. I have no problem with Jesus Christ living, dying, and resurrecting, not in the least. All of that has roots in the Torah. All right. Wednesday is the first night of Passover. That's right. Oh, so very ordinary. Good to see you again in the chat. Very good to see you again indeed. Why are you so dirty, says Young Squad. Ooh, because I am dirty, vile, nastier than you could possibly imagine. Yes, I am. How can you support the Christian and the Muslim in your chat? Why can't they understand that people have different beliefs? You'll have to ask them, Bibi Malmund. How can you support them? Because this is YouTube. This is the internet. It's the interwebs. I'm going to not support people who show up in the chat and who engage? That would be foolish of me and really counterproductive, because I'm here to engage with you people, so if they're engaging, I'll engage back. Now, if they are spammers and haters and trolls, I still engage with them differently, but if people are here for a discussion, unless I've heard enough of it already, then, for that day, for that live stream, I'll definitely clap back by addressing it. I have no problem with that. Let's continue. Jerusalem, L'chaim, says KJB. Hey, KJB, how you doing? He's definitely a pedo, says Sim420. Well, for someone with 420 in their names, you're not very chill, I gotta say. And no, I'm not a pedophile, but thank you for thinking that I am. Man, even you are a Jew, but I admire the personality, says AllMight7073. Thanks, I appreciate the vote of confidence, but don't admire me. I don't think there's anything admirable. We're just having a conversation. Having a conversation, indeed, can be an admirable thing, because discourse, right, and having the experience can bring wisdom and can yield good things. So admire the process. That's what I'm saying. Simple says, imagine how defending your own land is called starting a war. Y'all tried to do the same shit with Egypt and y'all lost. Really? We lost to Egypt? I think if we lost to Egypt, we would not be here having this conversation. As for defending your own land, no, by all means, defend whatever you want. If you want to call that us starting the war, then do that. I really don't care how you view it. Really, I don't. The Muslim-Arab narrative of the Nakba, the Holocaust, the only Nakba, as far as you're concerned, is that Jews were not destroyed and Israel is still standing. That is the real Holocaust. So, there would be no problem as far as you're concerned if in the War of Independence, the 5 invading armies would have destroyed Israel in a matter of, a few days, and everything would be right, and you would probably go back to tearing each other apart. I'm assuming. I'm only assuming. So you can call it defending your own land, right? I am calling this defending the land. That's what I'm calling it. So we are both calling it a defensive war. I have no problem with that. You can call it that, and I can call it that. When two facets go to war, each one thinks that they are the just side. They are on the right side of history. They are the righteous ones. So I have no problem with you thinking that the Arabs invading, the Muslims invading, is them defending their land. I have zero problem with that. It's par for the course. It's a given that you would think that. Why would you think otherwise? So, yeah. Let's continue. Down in the chat. Down in the chat. Buddy Bros Adventures says, you're annoying. Oh, you don't know the half of it. You don't know. This is the tip of the dung heap, as they say. Really, it's the tip of the shit pile. So, yeah. Buddy Bros, I am so annoying. Ask my kids, ask my wife, my coworkers. I'm so annoying. It's amazing some people can tolerate me. I feel for them. I really, really do. Okay, let's continue. Occupational colonists, says Brad. Well, you cannot be a colonizer in your own land. In order to be a colonizer, you need to have a mother state. But for the Jews, There's Judea, the kingdom of Judah, Israel, for the Israelites, that was here. This is the mother state. So that kind of fails on any level of, on every level that argument fails. We are not we are not colonialists, or we're not settler colonialists. We are simply people going back to their ancestral home. Now, definitely there were people living here before that, of all kinds of religions and faiths and walks of life. By all means, they should have stayed here. We could have had peace, but they decided, the Muslims, to reject the partition plan and invade and start a war of annihilation against Israel. And ever since then, it's a state of emergency with war after war after war, where we could have had peace. We could have had peace 10 or 12 times since. And the Arab Muslim leadership, every single time, said, no, we do not. We reject your peace agreement. We reject any deal you put on the table in front of us. We want to keep things as they are. We want to keep our people poor. We want to keep them refugees. We want to keep them anti-Israel, anti-Jewish. You're on the wrong side, bro, says Yusuf. Yes, obviously people will think that. I have no problem with people thinking that I'm on the wrong side. No problem in the least. I take it as a given that people who don't live here will think that. Definitely people who don't live here will think that. Okay. What's it says, I had a long chat with a young man from Gaza 2 days ago. He spoke about how he doesn't understand why everyone can't live together peacefully in Palestine. Because of the leaders, because of the leadership, because of the regimes and the governments and the terrorist organizations, not because of the people. I think the people want peace. The leaders want war. And you can say this about both sides. The people want peace. The leaders want war. Right? War is good for business. War is good for so many things. Not for the people, but for a lot of other things. War. So, why can't everyone live together? People say religion. Maybe, definitely. There's a religious underpinning to all of the shit that's going on here. That is for damn sure. But I blame, let's say, the leaders and not the people. I think the people want to live in peace, and the leaders want to live with at least some kind of a war, because they need to justify their own existence, and they need to justify everything that goes on there. And, that's the way that it goes. I'm not saying this is 100% an absolute, of course. I'm just one small little dumbass in the Middle East with a phone. And I am not part of the government. And I'm not a high-ranking official in the army. And I don't know what goes on behind closed doors. And I'm not part of any intelligence organization. So far be it from me to completely, absolutely judge. But I will say that from my discussions with people on the ground, it's the people who want peace and the leadership that want war. Why? I do not know. I could venture a guess, but it would just be maybe even an educated guess, but it would be a guess nonetheless. Okay, let's continue. Oh, the chat just jumped, but before that I saw someone say, answer, coward. It's not that I'm coward. I'm sure I'm probably a coward about certain things, not taking that away, but I'm not a coward. I'm not a coward about addressing questions on the internet. The chat there are over 250 people right now, and the chat is moving very rapidly. I don't get to every single chat, unfortunately. If you do want to say something, I'll gladly address your question. Leave a comment on one of my videos if I don't get to it in the chat, and I will definitely address it. I address everything that is addressed to me. So yes, leave a comment if I don't get to your chat. Oh, there he is. Answer, coward. So I guess the Yusuf is saying it again and again. What is a tophet? Tophet is a kind of Hebrew purgatory. It is a temporary sort of hell, but not a Christian kind of hell. Tophet is two things. It's a geographical location, Geben Hinnom, the geographical wadi, the vadi next to the old city of Jerusalem. And it's also a kind of Jewish purgatory where you are cleansed, you are basically cleaned. If it need be, you are cleansed, your soul is cleansed, however you want to look at it, from things that you went through in this world, right? You shed all of your karma, let's say, and it's up to 12 months. But there is no actual time in the spiritual realms. We say it relative to the things that go on here. Something that approximates a year in this world, 11 months, depending how you look at it, that is Tophet. As for being a coward, like I said, you think that me not immediately addressing your question with over 200 people in the chat makes me a coward? That says a lot. When I didn't even see the question, mind you. It's not even that I saw it and went, "Boo, I'm not doing that." It's like, that says a lot more about you than it does about me. But okay, you feel free to call me a coward. I have no problem with that. Whatever makes you feel like a big, strong man. Slow down the chat, please. Sorry for all the caps, says Kyle. Hey, Kyle, good to see you again. Moonrock says, why are you calling it Tophet? So Tophet is a place. Tophet means purgatory. I mean, that's not the literal translation, but it kind of is. Yeah, Tophet is a place, is a wadi where people used to worship pagan gods as well. Okay, let's continue. Passover week, that's right. Will you go live? What days? So Passover is Wednesday night. Thursday is the first day of Passover. So I don't think, maybe I'll go live after Passover, or maybe Friday, or maybe not until Sunday. I don't know. I have no set schedule. If it ever does indeed come to pass, and I will be able to do this for a living, maybe if that ever happens somehow, then I'll be able to actually schedule my time and have proper times to live stream, with a set schedule. Until then, it's when it fits, it's when the missiles aren't coming down, and I don't know when that will be. But yeah, Passover week. Definitely. It's awesome. I love Passover. Does your religion have a dress code, like any type of clothing that is not acceptable for either women or men? I'm not really religious, but I love to learn as much as I can. So yes, you're not allowed to wear linen and wool together. That's called shatnez. You're not allowed to wear that. If you're a man, you're not allowed to wear women's clothing. If you're a woman, you're not allowed to wear men's clothing. I mean, there's a kind of, there's a give and take there, but that's what the Torah says. I'm giving you simply the commandments that you're not supposed to switch clothing. Halachically speaking, there are, I suppose, exceptions to the rule, but that is basically like the rule, going by the strict rules. That's what they are. If you're a man and you wear a garment, no, if you're a woman as well, if you're a man or a woman of the Hebrew tribes and you wear a garment that has 4 corners, right? For instance, if I were to take this shirt and cut it all the way up here, and then take this side and cut it all the way up here, so I would have 4 corners, I would then be forced, halachically speaking, to put fringes or tassels on them called tzitzit, right, made of wool, right, which they're traditionally white with 1 blue fringe, with 1 blue, right, tassel, 1 blue one. So there is something of a dress code in that sense, but nothing other than that. Now, if you are a priest serving in the temple, or the high priest, then you have a dress code that is actually a dress code. That we have no temple standing nowadays. Now, there are the Haredi people who dress usually with a black suit, a white shirt, a black hat, and, they have their own different sects and Hasidic courts, and the different people dress in different ways. You've got the Streimel, and you've got the frock, and you've got a lot of different things. That's not exactly religion, that's more culture and tradition for those particular people. Okay, let's continue. 776 votes with pineapple and extra cheese still neck and neck with 34%, jalapeno at 16, and no toppings at 17. Look at that. Look at that. Why do you think historically Jews have been persecuted? So unquoted, I mentioned that already in the previous chat. I mean, previously in this chat, and probably in nearly every previous live stream, so I won't do that again today. Now, my apologies. You can look at other videos and you will find it there. Where in Israel do you live? In Jerusalem, past shock. I am in Zion, the holy city. There are a few holy cities. Traditionally, the Hebrews have 4 holy cities. It's Hebron, Tzfat, Tiberias, and Jerusalem. Corresponding with the 4-letter name of God, corresponding with the 4 elements, right? Fire, water, earth, and air, and fire, water, earth, and water. Fire, water, earth, and air. Let's continue. All right, so Jerusalem corresponds with fire. Who was William of Norwich, and what happened to him? That sounds so familiar. William of Norwich. It sounds so familiar, Yusuf, but I don't know him or what happened offhand. I don't recall. CMBKO says, so is your president in Tofat? No? President Herzog, do you mean prime minister or president? Bibi is the prime minister, Herzog is the president. President is more of a symbolic sort of job. He doesn't actually rule, but yeah. No, as far as I know, Herzog and Netanyahu are both still alive, meaning that maybe if they are right now existing and actually taking a stroll through the Wadi of Gei Ben Hinnom, they can literally be in Tofet. Incidentally, that's where I got married. But I don't think that they are there now. I don't think so. Can you explain your belief, says Jennifer? I am a Hebrew man trying to follow the Hebrew Torah, carry out the Hebrew commandments, and stick to the Hebrew covenants. That is the belief, right? The Torah doesn't necessitate that you believe. The Torah necessitates that you carry out the commandments and do. It's a Torah of action. There is no actual commandment, you must believe X, Y, and Z. There's you must do X, Y, and Z, but not belief. Belief is something that is up to the individual. Marriage is tofet, says James Bong. It certainly is if you're with the wrong person, or, definitely, for sure. Can people convert to Judaism like in Islam? I don't know how they do it in Islam. As far as I know, all you need to do in Islam is repeat the Shahada 3 times, right? And that's it. Pretty much. And then you're a Muslim, right? La ilaha illa Allah Muhammad Rasulullah. There is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his prophet. You say that 3 times, and you accept the Quran, and you accept the revelation, and you accept the ruling and of the last prophet and the teachings, and then you're a Muslim. So conversion to Judaism is more complex. Certainly modern-day Orthodox conversion is a lot more complex. More ancient and some modern-day Judaism conversion is a lot less complex than others. But none of the conversions that I know of in Judaism are as easy, let's say, as the mainstream understanding that I have of conversion to Islam. But yes, technically speaking, you can convert to Judaism in the same way you can convert to Islam, only you do it differently. Why do we have people say they are half Jew? Because people are sometimes born to a Jewish father, but not a Jewish mother. Biblically speaking, until the time of the Second Temple, you were allowed to be born to a Jewish father and not a Jewish mother, and you would be a Jew. But ever since then, it was flipped, because Jews at the time were taking foreign women as wives. And so the rulers of the time, Ezra, Nehemiah, and the others, they said, okay, you know what? We want you to marry your sisters of the tribes. So from now on, the faith, the religion, the covenant goes through the mother and not through the father. And that meant that the Hebrew men married Hebrew women and not foreign women. So that's why. But the men are called, from what I've gathered, Zera Yisrael, the seed of Israel. They are not halachically Jews as far as the Orthodox religion is concerned, but they do consider themselves possibly half Jews. But you can't be a half Jew. You either are all Jew or not a Jew, halachically speaking. As far as Orthodox rabbinic law is concerned, you can't be half a Jew. But as far as conceptually speaking, if you were born to a Hebrew father, but not a Hebrew mother, some might consider you half Jewish, even if you are not halachically, rabbinically Jewish. All right, let's continue. Dexter says, the human, for X to be real, what properties should it have? Or how would you logically verify X? X could be a physical thing or an idea or even something that someone claims to be real. Okay, so this is, right, philosophy, what you're saying, right? It's a philosophical question. What is real? Right? And speaking of earlier, when someone asked about the Matrix and the Kabbalah, Morpheus said it best. What is real? How do you define real? Right? If you define it by your senses, then it's all things interpreted by your brain. There needs to be something beyond that, right? Depending on your version and idea of reality, right? And what you consider to be real. So what I consider to be real is indeed things that have to do with my senses, but I also know, I have had enough experience in life to know that there are things that transcend the senses and the physical form. And they have their own sort of realness. Even if I can't prove it scientifically, even if I can't prove it with the laws of nature and the physical, right, the immutable laws of physics, even if I can't prove it, it's something that I know, to the extent that one can know such things, through experience, through, let's say, wisdom through experience, right? So how would you logically verify it? You can't. You can't logically verify something that is beyond logic to begin with, right? In the same way that I can't prove the existence of a God, of a deity, nor do I feel I have to, as long as I have accepted the rule of Adonai over my being. That's already all the proof. That means that I already have received all the proof that I need. Incidentally, I did when I was 19, I think I was 18 or 19, in my second year of yeshiva, where I spoke to the Most High God. I try to do that every day, and I said, okay, Adonai, I'm done. I don't need any more signs. I don't need any more hints. I don't need any more verifications. No, not evidence nor proof. I am with you. I am all in until the end. come what may. I got already at that point all the proof that I need for divinity and the divine influence in the world. Does it apply to all of the other billions of people? No, it applies only to me, because I don't know how other people conceptualize God. So if you're talking about for X to be real, what properties should it have, then that has to do with, right, physical, metaphysical, spiritual. These things differ. And if you're talking about how could you logically verify it, certain things you cannot logically verify. And that already, right, X could be a physical thing or an idea, like you said, so I can't do that. All I know is that I don't know, right? For sure. Okay. Scrolling down in the chat. Tyler says, what? The chat just jumped. Hang on a second, I'll get back to it. Tyler says, do you believe the Jews did nothing to wrong their hosts or justify their expulsion in any of the 109 cases? No, I'm sure that they did. Is it justified? I don't know. Did they do something to wrong their hosts by the definition of their hosts, by their parameters and how they would judge it? Their hosts, I mean? Definitely yes. Like I said, it's not that it came out of nowhere, be it something more ancient or being something that happened at the time. Like I said, they were too rich or too poor. They were too integrated or not integrated enough. They were too secular or they were too religious. Do you see what I'm saying? There will always be something about the Jew that you could pin on them and say, oh, it's the Jew, and kick them out, expel them, kill them, slaughter them. And it would be justified in that case according to the hosts. So it's not that I believe Jews did nothing wrong. I think that it's something ancient or contemporary, but that either way, according to the host nation, it definitely was something that the Jews wronged the people there. How? Different things each time. I have no idea. Mike says, I'm 81 years old and want to convert to Judaism. Do I need to be circumcised? If you have a foreskin, the answer is yes. If you have been circumcised already, then all you need to do by most halachic rulers is to have a drop of blood let from that area of the penis, and you don't need to be, because you can't be circumcised again. So yes, you would have to be circumcised if you are not circumcised, and you would have to, some say that you don't have to do anything, and other halachic rulers say you have to let a little bit of blood, right? Because there is the blood of the covenant of Abraham. So yeah. Okay. Continue. Branch says, the whole communism thing has not helped the entire Jewish cause. I agree. Look, Jews have been revolutionaries, Jews have gone against authority, Jews have been rebels and troublemakers, Jews have also been part of governments, and Jews have also been very high up in different regimes that, it's like, again, we are here and we are here. So on both ends you could say, it's the Jew. But I agree, the whole communism thing probably has not helped the cause. But that's only in the last couple of 100 years. All right. Imagine, says Simple, getting kicked out of 109 countries, but you still managed to bite the hand of the only country that offered you the help, even bombing the UK that helped you to do so. Really? When has Israel bombed the UK? Please, I'd love to know. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying I heard no such thing. Tell me, when did Israel bomb the UK? As for biting the hand, maybe it's in our nature. I have no idea. Maybe, maybe not. I really don't know what to tell you. Take a shower, you stink, says User B. Thanks, man, I appreciate it. I do shower regularly. I know the hair doesn't really give off that vibe, but I do shower regularly. I shampoo and condition regularly, but I appreciate it nonetheless. Personal hygiene is important. Good grooming is important. It's important not to subject your fellow humans to, stench, unless they're into that sort of thing. No judgment. Good cup of tea. Okay, let's continue. I know the blasphemy, says Gershom Bibi. Gershom Bibi. Hi, Gershom Bibi. What blasphemy is this? Please explain. Yusuf says, according to the Talmud, what do you think Jesus is? What do you think of his mother? Well, do you mean according to the Talmud, or do you mean what do you think? Those are two separate things. The Talmud says one thing, and I think a whole other thing. So which one is it, Yusuf? I don't agree with the Talmud on Jesus, let's put it that way. Hasn't showered in weeks, 100%, says RCMMA. Really? I doubt that. I think I know. I like your shirt, says Scoopity Poopity Poop. Hey, Scoopity, good to see you again. My question is why you killed Jesus, says Sam Khan. I killed Jesus? I'm pretty sure it was the Romans who killed Jesus. If it was me, then I think I would be able to tell you why. How are the Palestinians doing, says Jose. Not well, and it's because of their government, because of their terrorist leadership, because of their warmongering, bloodthirsty regimes that will not make any peace with Israel and continuously attack civilians and IDF, of course, and, cry victim. So there you go. Not that there are Jews who don't cry victim, of course. The whole idea with the Jews being the eternal victim of the world has been well established. So, it's like you lose, it's a lose-lose situation for everyone involved. Upstate, good to see you again. If you tried meth, you'd be back on Grindr. No, I'm not planning on trying meth, but I'm inclined to say that if I tried meth, maybe I would go back on Grindr, but once again, I don't think I would meet anyone from there. Basement Wi-Fi, says Michael. No, I'm here. I have no basement. There's an upper floor, thank God, but no basement. Tyler says he is so close to be self-aware. Huh? Say what? Not sure what you're doing. Not sure what you're doing there. Are you talking to me or someone else? But okay. Lord of Grief, nice name, says, sorry, pagan smart dust Wi-Fi what? I don't understand that. What? What? Is weed legal in Israel? No, Jose, it is decriminalized but not 100% legal. People really seem to love meth, says Spent Casing. Yeah, people really do love meth, but, not even once. I'm not going to screw around with that. Not going to screw around with that for sure. Who was pierced for our transgressions in Isaiah 53? Joseph asks. So Christians and Isaiah 53 is a very well-known debate. Isaiah 53, it does not speak of a particular individual, and even if it was a particular individual, it speaks of the nation of Israel at large. But even if it was speaking of a particular individual, and even if it was speaking of Jesus, son of Mary and Joseph himself, it still says absolutely nothing to do with him being a God incarnate. So it means absolutely nothing to me. Also, some Christians and Messianics, for some stupid reason, think that this is some sort of a forbidden chapter of Isaiah, and that it's and that we are told not to read it, or some BS like that. The sages, the people of the Great Assembly, who canonized the books of the Bible, they left out tons of prophets and tons of prophecies and other books, right? And if they wanted to leave out Isaiah 53, it would be all too easy. And so for all of you Christians and Messianics who say, oh, there is undeniable proof of Jesus, look at Isaiah 53. And it's like, if it was that much of a foolproof, proof and evidence of Jesus Christ being God, or whatever you believe, then the sages would not have canonized it as part of the Hebrew Bible. They would not have put such an obvious stumbling block and something antithetical, if you will, to the Hebrew faith right there in the book of Isaiah. So there goes that. That's what I'm saying. How many people? 900 people in the poll. 35% like pineapple. Wow. 33 extra cheese, 17% straight up, and 16% with jalapeno. Interesting. Explain the sages, says Fiat. The sages traditionally are the people who brought down the tradition and who were around during the time of the Second Temple era, who were the ones who are mentioned in the Mishnah, and later on, the sages afterwards mentioned in the Talmud, the Tanaim and Amoraim, as they are called respectively. The oral traditions, the keepers of the oral traditions, people call them Pharisees or people call them sages. They weren't exactly the same thing, but close enough for the purposes of this, of me addressing your question. So the sages were those who are mentioned in the Mishnah and in the Talmud, those who were rabbinic Jews, if you will, what later became Orthodox Jews, or Pharisees, if you will. Those are the sages. The sages are the people of the Great Assembly, 120 of them, if I'm not mistaken, right? The Sanhedrin, basically, the last Sanhedrin, what's called Anshe Knesset HaGdolah. When prophecy was taken away, when the spirit of prophecy was taken away from the people at large, right, and given to children and fools, Then it was the people of the great assembly, right? It was the synagogue replaced the temple, and the sages replaced the priests, and the prayer replaced the sacrifice. Something like that. It's not one to one, but that's the idea behind it. And due to the exile, certain things have had to go down. A lot of the traditions were lost. A lot of traditions that were not meant to be written down were written down. The oral Torah, Mishnah, Talmud, and so on, where halacha is derived from, was never meant to be written down. It was supposed to progress and evolve and continue through the generations, and now because it was written down for fear that it would all be lost, because of that, we are somewhat stuck 2,000 years ago, halachically speaking, without proper rabbis who had their hands laid on them like Moses to Joshua. And so we are kind of in a bad place halachically speaking. The sages were the last ones that had the hands laid on them properly. Let's put it that way. That's what I would say, basically. Let's continue down in the chat. You're my favorite Jew, says VTX. Thanks, I appreciate that. Maybe that means you don't know enough Jews, but maybe it's I appreciate the vote of confidence either way. Yahweh, smite this guy, I beg you, says FOZ. Hold on, let's wait. Nope, didn't happen. But maybe you'll get an update or a notification if I'm struck down. How do you feel about Kabbalah, says Jesse Peacock? That you should study it with a proper master if you are called to study it, and that you should do so with great caution and great discernment. That's it. Okay. Lilith, what is her role in your tradition? So, oh so very ordinary. Lilith, initially, before we were expelled from Eden, was very high ranking, let's put it that way. And traditionally, she was the first wife of Adam, right, of Adam. The thing is that she is now considered the mother of demons, one of the mothers of the demons, and the wife of the Samech Mem. I will not utter his name, but the demonic entity known as the great adversary, right, known as Samech Mem Aleph Lamed. And she is traditionally nowadays the one who, let's say, causes you to have dreams where semen is emitted in an impure way, because you can have an emission of semen in your sleep that is pure, that is clean, that is righteous. You can have that, and you can, by the same token, have an unclean and impure nocturnal emission of semen, and they say that that is the doing of Lilith. I probably shouldn't say her name now either, but you know what? It's pretty close to midnight, to the Jewish midnight, so that's okay. So the role is that she is the wife of the demon Samech Mem. That is her role now, right? And she is some sort of a kind of succubus, if you will. Not exactly, but kind of like that. The Sami and Lili, right? Samech Mem and Lilith, Sami and Lili are part of the Sitra Achra. They are part of the Klipot. They are not to be messed with, and I try to stay away from them. I try to stay away from them both. I fail, but I try to stay away from them. Adam Kadmon, says Fiat LUX. Indeed, Adam Kadmon is the world before the worlds, the tip of the Yod. The tip of the Yod, that is Adam Kadmon. Dust says, why can't we say Lilith's name? Well, look, you have 4 parts to the day. You have the first part and the second part of the day, the first part and the second part of the night. During the first part of the night, from the sunset until Jewish midnight, not 12 a.m., Jewish, Hebrew midnight, then that's a time when the Sitra Achra, when the Klipot are more in charge, if you will, or they have the potential of being in charge. And so you are not supposed to, let's say, for instance, you're not supposed to recite Psalms. You can say Psalms and read the Psalms in the first half and the second half of the day, and in the second half of the night, from Jewish midnight until sunrise. But from sunset until Hebrew midnight, you're not supposed to read the Psalms. I mean, that sort of thing. It's best if you don't go outside alone during that time. And it's best if you don't invoke names of demons and of messengers and of entities that are from the Sitra Achra, particularly during this time of the first half of the night. That's why. But people say those names all the time. I try and avoid them because when you speak a certain name, you invoke a certain energy, or entity, and I want to stay away from that. So I speak the names of the Most High God as they pertain to the different sfirot and the different situation. Some of them I only consider in my mind and do not speak, and that's the way it's supposed to go. But as for saying names of certain angels, of certain demons, of certain entities, I stay away from that, and I keep them in my mind, and I do not say them on my lips. It's just to be cautious. That's why, to be cautious, basically. Okay. Can you provide clarity? Says OWA. Clarity of the difference between Yashem, Yahweh, and Yahuwah. No, the only one, I don't speak any of those three names. They have nothing to do with the Hebrew Bible. If by Yashem you mean Hashem, the name, that's what people say instead of one of the names of God, to be more careful and to show the name respect. I'm not of the opinion that I should act that way, because in saying the name, you're actually not saying any name. And I believe that if it's the proper time and place, and you can do so in relative cleanliness and purity, you should use the names of the divine that you are allowed to use in proper context. Oh wait, a super chat came in? Hang on a second. As for Yahuwah and Yahweh, if you mean Yod He Vav He, that is the root name of God. There are higher ones and lower ones, but that is at the root of them all. There are different ways to spell it. There are different ways to manipulate the letters. As for Yahuwah, I don't know what that is. Okay. What are your thoughts on Jesus? Says Meh. That was the super chat. My thoughts are that he lived and died a Hebrew man, and that he is a dead man, no more, no less. He could have been a potential Messiah, a potential sage, a potential prophet, all of that, but that's it. He lived and he died, and he's dead. And I'm also willing to concede that he may have been resurrected and ascended. All of that has a root in the Hebrew Bible, but he is not God, nor Son of God, nor living God, nor God in flesh. That's where I draw the line. So there you go. Why do you Israelis spit on Christian people and outside Christian churches, says Sam Khan. Well, I don't do that. I think it's an abhorrent practice. The people who do that probably shouldn't, but those who do it is because it is an idolatry, and those people are idolaters, and some people, for some reason, think that they feel the need to spit outside of Christian churches and on Christian people, which again, I condemn the people, I condemn those actions. I think it's a horrible thing to do. You shouldn't be spitting on another human being, no matter what they believe in. If they don't do anything to you, don't do anything to them. Live and let live. Why spit on them? That is a horrible thing. But if, I'd venture a guess, if a reason is to be reasoned, that is it, because they are idolaters, that's why. But I think it's a horrible thing to do. Get this demon out of here, says Hellraiser. Are you talking about me? Yes, I am a demon. A Jewish demon. Should I say goodbye? I've been on for almost an hour and a half, and I was on for about 20 minutes earlier this evening before the missile alert started, right before I had to go to the bomb shelter. Yes, I think I will. I think I'll say goodbye. God willing, I will see you tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow, maybe another time. Whenever the next live stream is. Be blessed, be a blessing, be good to other people, be the light in other people's lives. If I didn't get to you in the chat, please leave a comment. I didn't do it on purpose. I'm not ignoring you. The chat's moving rapidly. I can't get to everything. If you want to hit me up in the DMs, Hebrew Nazarite, across the board, look for my tree. I'm on X and TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and here. So hit me up if you want to talk. And God willing, I will see you in the next live stream where the wonders never cease. I'm going to be up for a while, I think. It's almost midnight here in Jerusalem. I'll be up for another, I guess, 20, 30 minutes, and then I'll go to sleep. So I'll answer a few comments now if you want to leave them. This has been lovely. I thank you, each and every one of you, the likes and the subs and the views and the vitriol and the hate, the spammers and the trolls and the encouragement and the actual questions, the people interested in discourse. I don't take it for granted, that I press go live and you're here and it's magical, it's live, it's raw, it's happening. I love this. I love the engagement, be it good or bad. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. It's no small thing. Let's do it again sometime. Until then, peace, love, prosperity to all humanity. May war and bloodshed and conflict be taken away, lifted clean out of creation, even right now as I am speaking these words. May we know peace and love. Until then, until the next time, good night and goodbye from Jerusalem. Thank you.